Hi, this is Scott Jordan, and you are watching live here at Cellars of Sonoma in beautiful Railroad Square, Santa Rosa, California. And welcome everybody to TV Tuesday Live. This is the show where we taste wine, we talk about wine, and tonight we're going to go into the library that I spelled wrong on the, on the email. We're going to go into the library wines, and we picked two. We're going to talk about Bonneau wines, and we're going to talk about Super Sonoman. We're going to do a side-by-side tasting of the Bonneau 2009, 10, and 11. And then we'll do the Super Sonoman 8, 9, and 10, which we had in the room. I've got Dave Batt here, our wine educator and resident guru and
go ahead,
the geek man. And
geek.
The geek. We all love that. Now, this is kind of fun. Let me first explain for those of you that don't know what library wines actually are. When a vintage gets down to the last few cases, maybe under 10, maybe 4 or 5 that are left, they're ready to release the next vintage. We bring it in and put it upstairs in our library lounge, and they become more valuable at that point. Yeah. If they're big reds like these, they've got great ageability, which we're going to decide on that tonight if nice. That was true. And so it makes it really fun. If you're going to do a dinner party, for example, it's really cool to have a vertical as part of your wine yes. and your meal plan. And in this example, the first one, we're going to compare 09, 2010, 2011. And what we're going to do, and I want you to help me talk about, those are 3 very, very different years. Right. 10 and 11 were somewhat similar, had some issues, but they're very different. And then we'll talk about 8, 9, and 10, because they are quite different.
Sure.
Not like what we've seen in 2012 and 13, where even I could make good wine, and I suck. I'm really bad. But I mean, you really had a hard time to. You had some pretty good fruit, and everything I've heard now. I just got an email, a little posting from Heidi Barrett. She's all done picking, and it seems like that everything's pretty much in. Most of the stuff is in, and it's looking really.
Is it?
Good. Yeah, good nice, stuff. Nice. I mean, good. I mean, they're raving about it. I like what we've seen so far, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But Bonneau wine is the very first one. Let me tell you a little bit about where it's from. It comes from the Sonoma Valley. The vineyard is called the Ty-Caton Vineyard, who is another producer in the valley. Geographically, it sits right below the famous Monte Rosso Vineyard. That's the Louis Martini property that Gallo owns that has been up there, I don't know, what, since forever. The 40s?
Yeah.
Probably.
Definitely before most everybody else even realized they wanted to do wine out here.
Or that they could.
Yeah, that they could.
And definitely. I've been to the Ty-Caton Vineyard. I swear that you didn't go that day when we went over there, huh?
No.
Oh, it was really cool, because it's one of those places that if you drove up there, you would never know where to go to get into where the vineyards are, because it's really private. But if you didn't bring a 4-wheel drive, you ain't going nowhere.
Yep.
Because man, it's all of this routine. So, but it makes for some nice wines. And so John has been sourcing that from that area. And again, this is 2009, 10, 11. The 11 is a pre-release. We put it in the wine club shipment. So that means the wine club got a look at it for a little bit of time, and then we put it back in the cellar and release it later. But I thought it'd be fun to put it back in here.
Sure.
And talk about it in the vertical. Okay, so I'm gonna pour away. I think I've got these in the right. Andy got them in the right order for me. The first wine is a 2009. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour them the same way for both of us. But I'm going to over pour them a little bit. Because what we're going to do at the end is we're going to do a little comparison in Cabernet between Bonneau and Super Sonoma. Because they're very, very different. But both mountain fruit, wonderful wines. Now you do have a slide that's there with the library wines and the word spelled wrong.
It's like February.
It's like February. It's kind of February. Huh?
Did you do that?
I did that, yeah. And I had lots of time to correct it.
Did you have wine for?
No, I should have had some wine. We could have.
We couldn't spell library without you. That's our slogan, right?
We
Yes.
can't do it without you. So, just so you can see the price points, the 2009 is $70 retail, $59.50 if you're a Cellar Club member. The 2010 being a current vintage is the $48 price and $40.80. The 2011 being a pre-release is still coming in at $48. Now, this is the cautious part of what I wanted you guys to learn about in library wines. Notice the difference in price point. That Sonoma Valley 2009 was 48 bucks. Okay? Once it goes in the library, price goes up, it becomes more valuable. There's only a few cases left. In this case, there's about 12 bottles, 15 bottles, and
That's
it's
it,
gone
huh?
forever.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's not a whole lot of that left. So it does have value, and we're going to see its ageability, because that's really what we want to talk about. This is the current release 2010. Again, pretty much all the same formula, about 22 months in French oak, about a third of it new oak. And so there's the Bonneau 2010. And then the pre-release. This is, again, pretty much the same concept, but now we've got 2011. All right, now our guests that are tasting along with us, and you can always taste with us if this is your first time tuning in, just come down to the tasting room a little bit before 6. We let you sit back here and taste along with us and watch us do our thing. And you can even have comments and questions. We'll be happy to answer them and during the show.
So going back to the concept of pricing of library wines, right now on the retail, you've got the oldest wine is $70
Right.
now, after 2 increments back in the library.
Yeah.
What was that selling for approximately?
In the 48.
It was 48.
Yeah.
Okay. So that bounced up quite a bit.
Yeah.
As it gets particularly rare.
Yes.
When you bounce it back just the first tier, it's kind of holding the 48. And what was the 2011?
Yeah, 2011 is the same. So they're releasing that at the same price as the current release that's out today.
Got it. Okay.
But once this is ready to go in the library, it's going to take a bump.
Okay.
And it'll be up near there. So the caution for all of you is to buy it at the current price.
Right.
And not wait and lay it down, because we're going to be able to demonstrate here the advantage of laying that down and really what happens in that wine.
And it gives you a chance too to know what conditions that bottle is in, because it's in your own hands, your own cellar along the way. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, so we've got 2009, 10, and 11 in that order. So the first thing I want to do is swirl that wine in the glass, and then I want to put a nose to that. Now, just as what I recall from the 2009 vintage was a pretty big vintage. In fact, I think we had problems finding tank space, right?
Yeah. Space was limited, and people scrambled to find a place for it.
Ooh, boy, that's a gorgeous nose. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, if you're going to do a meal plan, and let's say that you were going to use this wine as your wine for the dinner, I would try to set it up like we have it here and actually have all 3 glasses with your meal, with the entree of your meal. Now, you could get real technical, I guess, and pair up different food with each
Oh,
one of
absolutely,
these
yeah.
could be
Sure.
the other scenario. But in that situation, you're going to have each of those bottles in advance, and then do some little.
Well, it gets complex
cooking.
because you got a lot more glassware on the table too, right?
Yeah.
And now you've got
Yeah.
additional
Yeah.
plates on the table. So it just depends
Wow.
on how crazy you want to take it.
If you've got them all laid out like we have here, I think what you want to do is you want to smell the wine first, then you want to look at color variation to see how that wine is aging. You guys aren't going to see this as much, but if you hold a white piece of paper down as you're looking at the wine, you can look at the hue, the edge of this. If it starts to look a little bricky, we know it's getting a little bit old. But I'm really not getting.
No, I don't see that. here.
I don't see that here at all. So we've got a 2009 just.
It's a big wine.
That's still hanging in there. What's wrong with that?
Nice.
You could put that down for some time. I won't have. That really got soft.
Plenty of tannins yet still there to hold on to it for a little while.
Yeah, but they're soft. They're really not. They're not edgy at all, which we might see in the 11, where it might be a little more on the edgy. Now, 2010. Let's talk about 2010 while we're looking at this one. Vintage year, tough growing year. Man, we had all the wrong stuff.
Yeah, things happened at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the flexible winemaker will adapt, or the vineyardist will adapt to those situations, and then finally bringing it in, have to sort out what's happening with it and adjust the winemaking process too. So the combination of the two can help ameliorate a lot of that and put it back in a really good place. But it was definitely something where there was a lot of activity going on and a lot of concern going on as the weather pattern struck kind of almost out of order. You know,
Yeah.
where
Well, you
start
had
bringing
which we didn't have this year in the last 3 years. You had a very cool summer. I mean, cool, like you'd had afternoons like we see out here. We're getting a little. Just for those of you that I talk about how hot it is here all the time, but it's we're getting a little bit of pretend rain. It hasn't quite rained yet, but it's trying.
It's a little aerosol going
But
on.
the temperature dropped pretty dramatic. It's been really warm here. So this is a lot cooler than we've seen, and that's kind of the summer that we had in 2010, right? I mean, it really never got.
Yeah,
You never got
ripeness
that
was an issue,
blazing.
yeah.
Yeah. So as they moved through the vintage, what the problem that they had was they're getting close to harvest and they weren't ready to harvest.
Right. Yeah.
So they pulled a bunch of leaves off and got caught with a little heat spike.
Yeah, yeah. So
And that fried some fruit.
it did. Yeah. So some of that fruit was lost because of that.
Yeah. But then the other side of that is now you've got all that energy going into the remaining fruit. And in the bottle, it's really showing how nice.
It is.
What you ended up with was pretty damn good.
It's
From
done
a
really well,
farming
really well.
perspective, if I'm the farmer, I'm getting hosed,
Yeah.
right? Because I lost 10, 15% of my crop, right? But you're the
Well-
winemaker, so you don't care. Right? I mean, that's the.
Well, you look at it too, up and down the road, you realize that others are losing the crop too, so you begin to look at the volume that comes out of it and say, well, you know, maybe the pricing will offset that somewhat because there's less of the good stuff around too.
Yeah. Well, everything that I've seen so far in the 4s or 10s have been really, really good, and they're showing well in the bottle, which is telling me that they're aging well.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know. I'm thinking you can probably do another 5, 6 years on that, and that won't
Actually, I even believe that about this one too, the first one.
On the 9?
Yeah, it's really got a lot of intensity and a good tannic backbone that is not necessarily unpleasant. Actually, it's pretty round, but
Yeah.
it's definitely got some tannins here that will carry it for many years to come yet.
Oh, it's so
Great
pretty
nose,
now
yeah.
too. It's so pretty. So this is. And I'm talking from a salesman side. Just bear with me. This is one you really want to have some extra and lay that baby down. You're too late on this one to get big chunks of it. If you hurry up, you can get a bottle or two, but that's all you're going to get at this point. Bless you. But it's an example of one you'd love to have had a good chunk of that
Yes.
down, because you could really play around with it and really sit on
Absolutely,
some
yeah.
of that,
Yep.
and it would be magnificent. And it is showing well. What do you guys think of that? How was that 9? You guys like that?
Yeah.
Is that okay? Is that okay? Yeah, Al,
Yeah.
if Al likes it, it's really good. 'Cause Al's tough, man. He's tough. Yeah, that's.
Al's real.
But don't you think the 10 is going to get there eventually? That's what.
Well, I think the 10's on a really great track now because it has some of those same qualities of drinking really well, has a great intensity to it. It's a very pretty wine in its own way too, as well. So I would grab either one of those and be very happy with it. You know?
Yeah. So now let's talk about the 11. Let's talk about the 11 vintage year. Kind of similar to 10, as far as the cool summer thing, but you didn't get that heat spike. They really had to sit on it, man. They were. I mean, it's, what is it, October, what is today, 14th? And almost 98% of the vintners are done. But not in 2011 they weren't. Hell no, man, they were just getting started.
Yeah, it was a little late.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a little
man.
late.
Well, and what's the danger when you're going to harvest that late?
Well, you have to make a judgment to say, all right, I want it to be ripe, but if it's ripe and then suddenly something happens like a late storm of some kind, you can lose a lot of your crop. So you have to balance. If you're a gambling person, you have to decide where you're going to hold those grapes at that point. And always better to hold on to it longer, and if it survives through the weather pattern, of course you can have great wine. But some people get nervous and they pull it too soon, they get a little bit of that green wine going on.
Which I'm not a real big fan of the green thing. I really want the fruit ripe. But there's this argument that has been going on for quite some time, and we've talked about this before, and you know, Randy from Harvest Moon is a good friend of ours, and he makes killer wines, but he is an advocate of 13% and below. I mean, he is all over that. Even in his big reds, he's really trying to achieve that. That's hard to do. But he owns some of those vineyards. So you have a question? Go right ahead.
Are the tannins in wine the same as tannins that are used to prepare hides?
Prepare what?
Tannins in wine, are they the same as
that are
tannins?
used to prepare hides.
And who asked that question? Brian Morrell. Okay. Go ahead,
I didn't
Dave.
hear the question. So
the question
tannins
is,
in wine
tannins
versus
in wine the same as tannins in hides?
in a
Cow
hide.
hides.
Oh, yes. Yes, they are. It's the same base chemical, and talk about tanning leather. It's the same idea, and that's where it comes from, actually, yes. It's a chemical process that changes the texture of the hide, and when you want to you take something soft to make it hard, it actually is the tannins that pull some of the molecules and move things around such that it ends up to be what leather is and we know leather to be. So yes, it's the same. It's the same.
Wow, I would have got that one wrong
Yeah,
big
no,
time.
definitely is the
And
same.
actually, because I was going by the source of the question, which was Brian.
Quick question, huh? No,
that
actually
was
true.
that was an absolutely great question.
I'm dropping my duty.
Well, I'm sure somebody can help you with your goodies. My wife just dropped her goodies out in the street. They're not gifts tell that guy to get away from this stuff. Okay. Well, that's a great question.
Yeah,
In
it
fact,
is a
I've
good
never
question.
heard that question.
And you know, there's tea in, tea has tannins too. So what do you do to make it soften up? You add a little cream or something, a little milk to the tea, and it softens it up and takes the bitter quality away. It's the same thing happens when you have cheese with red wine too. So I don't have any idea what happens when you rub cheese on leather. I don't know. So
Okay.
just saying.
We also have another question.
What was the other
There
question?
is no laugh track
The
on
other
this show.
question is, can you compare the Los Carneros versus the Napa Cab?
The Los Carneros versus the Napa Cab. Well, actually, of what we're tasting tonight, there are no Napa wines. Bonneau does make a Napa Cab. However, that one is even rarer than this. So you're not, I can't open those bottles. There's no way. There's just not enough. Here's my take on what I would say the Napa. First of all, it came from Bonneau's Napa Cab, part of it came from Stagecoach Vineyard, which is a pretty good vineyard
Yeah.
over in Napa on the hill. That's some pricey fruit, man. He paid a fortune for that. That was not cheap. I think it makes an elegant wine. I think there's a little more of a hint of cocoa chocolate in the finish, but a very, very nice soft finish. What's your take, Napa?
I can't imprint on that particular one, but separately, small issue is that Los Carneros has both a Napa side and a Sonoma side. So if we're not talking this particular subject, we've actually talked about Napa wine. Well, technically, there's a Los Carneros Napa side too. However, his comes from the Sonoma side of Los Carneros, right?
Yes, it does. Mhm.
All right. So if you're comparing the Sonoma side of Los Carneros, which is you get really ripe fruit there, and a lot of great things come out of there. With the Napa, it'll tend to have an intensity to it that is kind of bowl you over intensity, classically as you look at that, versus a Los Carneros Sonoma side, which is a little bit more restrained in its style. And again, you'll have to remind me what the Napa is versus the Los Carneros, but I believe you're going to find that there's going to be some intensity in the Napa that pushes forward with fruit and everything on it, but it's going to have some harsher tannins.
Yeah,
not negative in a negative way.
No,
because
but the
you can only
tannins
soften
were,
those up.
they were firm. What's that for?
Just in case.
Maybe it's a hint to grade on as we get to the next one.
Yeah, what the heck is that for? I have never used dump buckets in this taste.
He's adding a little color to the
I
top.
just don't know what he wanted me to do with that. I'm purposely leaving these in the glass because we want to get another row of these just for us. So you guys can go through your thing.
Actually, they're looking for more wine.
I know they
That's
are.
what they're trying to say.
So if I could get one of the helpers, Russ, if you could get 3 more glasses each for us, we're gonna go back to these and compare them to the Super Sonoman, which comes from a similar mountain range, but a little further north.
Right.
Okay, so let's just put these aside kind of like this, and thank you, Russ. And we'll put these right out here, thank you very much. Excellent, good job. And we're gonna put the Super Sonoman, and then Dave and I are gonna go back and kind of compare wines and vintages.
Which, while we're doing verticals here, that actually becomes a horizontal. I mean, that
Yeah,
sounds like a
it
joke.
does. Yeah,
Actually,
it
that's
does.
the
It
term.
will. For the 9 and the 10,
Yeah.
clearly a
So
horizontal.
we'll be able to compare
yeah, so
from the same vintage.
leave those in order. That's good. Thank you very much. So what Dave is talking about was horizontal. Horizontal means 2 different vintners, same vintage year and same varietal, right?
Yep.
So we will have that contrast to be able to do as well. Let me just throw up there. I don't want to do that. Let me just throw out there about what's going on this weekend in music while I pour the first wine of the Super Sonoman. You've got it right in order. That's the order that's coming up. So Greg Youter opens up on Thursday. I guess I want 8. Is that the 8?
It is.
It is, all right. And then on Friday we have Ricky Allen Ray, and Saturday John Pita. So we've got some amazing talent coming in town. Those guys are great. So come down and enjoy the live music. It's quite good. All right. So we moved down to Super Sonoman. Super Sonoman makes big wines. These are absolutely huge wines. Let me pour this last one, and you can take all 3. Yeah, just walk right.
Yeah, I did.
No problem.
It took 2 seconds.
I know.
No,
Nobody saw.
nobody saw.
Okay, we're tasting 2008, 2009 Knights Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. Here, Karina, you can have that other bottle too.
Thank you.
Thank you. So 2008, 8, 9, and 10. 10 is the current vintage. And you can tell that, and this is another example of librarying. So the 2008 retails at $80, $68 if you're a Cellar Club member. So you're getting a deal on that. $78 on the 09, 66.30 if you're a Cellar Club member, and then the current release is 65 at 55.25 for Cellar Club. So you can see the incrementally how that's working. So let's go back to 8. So tell me your take on 2008. I'm trying to remember.
2008 was a particularly hot year, and lots of fires throughout the area here too. So 2008, a lot of those wines were either not released or
What's going on, man? How you doing?
sold off as high volume wines off to be used in other ways. Sometimes they tried to get the smoke taint out of them, but a lot of them took on a really nice character, and there were places where the smoke settled in some of the valleys, and you had more of an issue. There are certain varietals, when you have thinner skins, that have more of an issue. But it was an interesting year for that reason, that there were a lot of heavy, hot days, and things were going on in the hills with the fires and everything.
Hi, Nita. Yeah, and there were some wines that in 2008 that had so much smoke, I don't even think now it's burned off. I mean, it's just in there, and
It doesn't go away.
It's
No,
not
it
going
doesn't go
away.
away. No.
But they tried all kinds of methods
They did.
to was it ionizing? There was some terminology.
They would do various things. They would try and spin out some of the content. What they figured out when they tasted the grapes, they said, well, this isn't so bad. This is going to make okay wine. What they figured out was that there are little areas inside the skins of grapes that are actually designed to, if you will, if there's a design there, to be collectors of things not good inside the skins of the grapes. There's like little compartments. They figured out that once they tasted and they said, well, it tastes okay, they figured out it would eventually find its way into the wine. So it actually got worse and worse and worse as they were introducing the grape skins into the wine. So one thing they thought was let's get rid of the skins quickly. So you'll see a lot of rosés. You used to see a lot of rosés in 2008 from the area.
Trying to extract that, trying to
But
get that out.
guayacol, they call it, guayacol, they had a real problem with that. So,
Guayacol?
yeah, that's the official, like.
See, there's a reason why he's here doing this. You guys understand that? I have
Yeah,
no
there's
idea
a lot of
what the hell
A's
he's
and
gonna
I's
say.
and a U in there for the
Yeah.
spelling on the front end.
Yeah, and
it's
I couldn't spell it anyway. So.
But it's an interesting science that was just being developed, and it came out of Australia where they
Thank you.
figured out what was going on, and they tried to adapt as best as they could. And some of the wines got really nice, just a touch of that kind of smokiness.
Yep.
Great barbecue wines. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm anxious to try this one.
Yeah, when I was out wine tasting with my family about I want to say it was about 3 years ago, and we went to a winery that had 8 in the barrel, and they were trying to do everything under the sun to get rid of that before they tried to bottle it.
Yeah.
If not, they weren't even going to bottle it. So we tasted right out of the barrel. Man, I needed a pack of cigarettes. I mean, holy smokes, talk about tannin, and it was so smoky that it masked the fruit. You could tell that there was you could taste the fruit, and there were parts of it that were really nice, and if that smoke was gone, it probably would have been a great wine.
Right.
But it wasn't going anywhere, man. It was not going away. That
Yeah,
was
I had that problem.
Now I'm not getting smokiness necessarily in here. This is Knights Valley, so it's a little further north, but it's on that same mountain range with Mayakama and with the Ty Caton vineyard. Tannin's soft tannin.
Very soft. Very
Nice
soft.
finish. I don't have a problem with that at all.
No,
That's
not
not
at all.
freaking me out.
He's doing some very nice things on the front end of his winemaking that help him
On the
have
back
a
end.
softer,
Yeah, I don't know the the stats on that. I will guess, like most of his wines, it's about 20 months, brand new French oak. So he's not wimping out here at all. Now let's compare that to 2009. 2009. Interesting. The nose. Now we're going to go back and do a little horizontal between this and the Bonneau. but I'm getting a similar nose in the 9 that I remember from.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Right?
Yes.
Am I right? I'm relying on the nose because my palate's gone. So your palate goes away after like the second wine that you actually taste and swallow. Then your palate's toast. I mean, you're really relying on your nose.
And how much wine? How many ounces?
It's not the amount of ounce, just enough of a coating in your mouth, probably 2 or 3 sips that you would take, and it's going south from there. At that point, it's not as fresh, and you know you can do a few things maybe, I guess, but drink a lot of water. I don't know what to.
Scott, do you have an idea when your wine club end of the year party's gonna be?
When the question that we have is when is that must have come from Nita.
No, it came from Brad.
Oh.
Trying to schedule yourself.
Okay. So the gala event. We do a gala event. We try to do it every year because harvest got over pretty quick. We shouldn't have too much in the way. I'd like to do it around the first week in December if we could pull it off. Somewhere in that very first week is ideal. At the latest, the second week.
That's the end of year wine club event?
That's the gala event. We bring in all 9 vintners in here and pour their wine, and you get to meet the winemakers and owners and all that.
Brad
Yeah.
was seeing if he can come out.
Yeah. So think first or second week. I'll get real busy on this now that the harvest is over and get some dates down and
Yeah, compare
lock
the
it.
schedules. Getting
Yeah.
9 people to
Getting
get
9
together
is like
that is
herding
pretty
cats,
amazing, yeah.
man. Holy crap. Okay, so I think kind of a similar nose.
Yeah,
to-
I'm feeling
did
that.
you
So
get that?
we'll go back and do that.
Yeah,
but I
we'll
think
know
you're
right away. Yeah. So this is 2010. This is their current release. $65 retail, $55.25 for Cellar Club. You have a question? Go ahead.
Do you see more fruit-forward cabs in Sonoma versus other regions?
More fruit forward. Ooh, that 10's nice. That's a mouthful.
It
Holy
is very
Toledo. Fruit forward cabs in Sonoma compared to others that
Other regions.
to other regions. I don't know. It seems to me that each winery has their own kind of method that they're going after, and so it does vary. My wife and I took a trip coming back from Santa Barbara. We stopped in Paso Robles, and there were a couple of different styles
They've
there.
gotten really good there.
Oh, they got
some
really
amazing
no, they got
juice. Yeah.
really good. I mean, really good. We sampled 3 wineries. I'm just telling you, man. I was shocked. And I haven't been there in quite a while.
It's changed quite a bit. Quite a few years ago, the answer would be yes, it'd be fruit forward and
Yeah.
maybe go away quickly and so forth. But they've really been working hard to do outstanding wines, and they're doing
Oh
a great
man,
job.
the first 3 I tasted were like mind blower. Like, wow, let's book a trip and really hang out because there were a lot of wineries to see. But so I think part of it's winery style. That's kind of my take on it. I don't know what.
Well, I think like everything else, they have their own house style. They also have what they have to work with too, and it's a business. So they want to please. A group comes in, they want to be able to please all the palates in the group, especially in the tasting room. As they put it in distribution, all the stores want to carry things for all palates anyway. So you do see it get mixed up pretty well. But I think the question is getting at the fact that there are regions that tend to be growing up in this area of fine wine and are dealing with their own climates. There are some that tend to be a little bit more fruit forward. They don't necessarily have the intensity that others do.
And is that a function of the barrel aging program, or whether they're using new oak or
No, I think it's
or
a
not,
terroir.
or-
I think they're dealing with terroir there.
Okay.
I think in terms of fruit forward, you can change things in the winemaking, but also I think you're going to end up with the grapes that you're working with kind of lead you into a zone that you can do things with, unless you're blending it in. If you have a really intense or not terribly ripe batch over here, you can look for something that's overripe over here. You can look for something that's less intense and put those two together and come up with some amazing things. An example of that, of course, is when some of the vintners throw a little white wine in with the red wine.
Yeah.
Because they want to
Bonneau
add a
does that.
character that wasn't there. You can do
Right.
that with red wines and with red wines. You can do that with a couple different locations on your vineyards. You can do that at 2 different locations, bring them together and call it something that has, it might be California wine. It can come from anywhere in California. So they have a chance to kind of create their own style. It's what they choose to do.
Also, blending in other varietals
Yeah.
could have an effect in that regard. If you put a Malbec in there, that's going to push that fruit forward side.
Right.
That's
yeah.
going to tip that pretty good. So, yeah, it really depends on a lot of factors. So there's really no. I don't think you could break it down necessarily. Say it's Sonoma versus Paso Robles, or you're going to get a mixture just within their region themselves.
Right. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, because of all the microclimates. We got real geeky, but that was
We
good.
did. It was fun.
That was okay.
Got that out of our system now.
All right, so you and I both had a feeling that the 09s had similar noses, and so a factor then of, and I don't want to get these mixed up. I want to do this correctly so we don't screw this up. A factor of the vintage year versus location, because they're clearly not coming from the same vineyard, and,
Right.
and they are produced relatively similar. But I don't think John ages his 22 months in French oak. I know that it's probably a third new. I know that Super Sonoman's 100%
yeah.
brand new French oak, probably about the same time frame. But so I'm going to put these two. This is the Bonneau. This is the Super Sonoman. I'm going to try to make sure. I should have just written on the.
Yeah, for anybody who's doing this, grab one of those erasable markers. You can just make notes.
Yeah, any Sharpie works fine, and you just put it right on there, what it is, so you don't do like I did, and I have to remember. But this is the Bonneau. This is the. So I'm just looking. I'm not looking for what the finish is. I'm looking for what I got in the nose. There was some characteristic in the nose that was telling me it was similar vintage year. And then that could all be hogwash, And then notice Andrew has his Giants jersey on. And let's hear it for the Giants today. Big win today in the bottom of the 10th. And we win any way we can win, and it was on a bunt. We won on a bunt with a pitcher threw the ball away, and too bad we win, you lose. That's how it still goes in the L column. So
It works. It works.
yeah. So let's go back. Yeah, there is a little quality that, and I can't define what it is, but I'm noticing something in the nose that's quite similar in between these two wines.
Which one, the 9?
The 2 9s.
2 nines.
Yeah, which you guys don't have because we blew through the other one. But
Right.
so I'm going to do a little comparison of finish on the two.
Okay.
And I don't like to throw favorites because I think all of these are world class, and I'm not kidding with that. They're
different
here for a
styles.
reason. But I'm going to tell you the one that I would be more likely to enjoy and have fun with. That's pretty good.
They're both good. They're both good. Let's start there. They're both good.
Now you guys know I don't do this. I mean, I really don't. Wow, that was good too. Wow, you know what? There's not a flaw difference between these two wines that would lean me in one. I would be
enjoy either
very
one of
happy
those, right.
either way, and I have no skin in the game here. And let me explain what I mean by that. We have 9 vintners in here. We have a total of probably 70 wines or more in this room. I don't pull favorites, never have, and I judge them though on what I see, and if there was a big difference here, I would let you know. I'm not getting it. I'd take them both, man. Those are. I mean, these are 2 very well made wines.
Well,
I mean, I'm not kidding you. That's I'm not being a homer.
Let's talk about it, though, because they are different, right? They're coming across differently. And of course, it depends on what you like any one day. You may
Right.
feel like I want this one day and that the next day, but they are very good. They're showing really well. Subtly different styles. You've got with Bonneau, it has a quality about it that is adding some mouthfeel there that isn't here. With the Super Sonoman. Super Sonoman has some intensity that comes across and washes across the palate from mid all the way to the back and beyond. It has a lusciousness about it. So you have to say, you know, what do I feel like having today? You know, I've got experience with the Super Sonoman where, you know, I'm going to throw a steak against that, and that's going to be really wonderful. If I throw a steak against Bonneau, it's going to be really wonderful, but you're going to have a different experience.
Oh,
So it
yeah.
looks like you got the same ingredients, but the experience would definitely be different. And, you know, I could go either way any one day on that, and it's just a matter of taste. And
Yeah,
mood.
I think this is a little bigger wine in the mouthfeel, and which leads me to want to have a bigger meal with it. Where the Bonneau, I probably could back it off and maybe even get into some spicy ribs and
Right.
you know, not have to say I need a bigger meal.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to, part of it I think is 100% brand new French oak and 30% new oak. I think that's what's coming out here. But the real example, what I really want to drive home to you guys is there's an example of laying down a wine that's you know, 2009, so it's been in the bottle for quite a while, right? It's been in the bottle for you know, almost 4 years, and it's showing magnificent. So you can really sit on that and enjoy this even down the road. It would be fun to see how they go, but they've got lots of life, lots. I mean,
very much.
Yeah. There's no. All right, so let me do. Now the other one is 2010, just so we're comparing apples to apples here as far as the. So I'm going to do the 2010. So on my right is Bonneau. Oh, and that's changed that has changed while it sat in the glass. Wow. Okay, ooh, boy, to me they're very different in the nose. They're very, very different. You got a question? Go right ahead.
Brad is asking about something called Mega Purple. Do you guys know what that is and what it might be used for?
Mega purple?
Yeah, now Brad's getting geeky.
He's
I
getting
think.
geeky?
It's just a geek fest today.
Oh my God.
I guess so. Mega Purple is a brand of that was registered by Constellation Wines, and it is a product that's used to sometimes beef up sometimes wimpier wines. And there's a big discussion about that, you know, as to why it's being used. Well, the answer is because you have a more enjoyable experience with it in there in some cases. But why are you using it? Because it doesn't belong there from that particular region and so forth. What it is actually compressed. Imagine a cube of compressed grape skins. You look at me like, what? What's he talking about?
I have a clue. I'm completely lost.
Compressed grape skins and things that can be from anywhere, and as long as you keep your percentages within the realm of these are grapes that are part of the lower 25% of the blend, you can not have to claim them. So it's totally legal to put that in there. It's a different way of beefing up a wine. A lot of the less expensive wines are considered to be using that or something else that's very similar to that. The higher end wines do not use Mega Purple.
Well, I guess not.
Think Hamburger Helper, all right? Think Hamburger Helper. We're adding a little something to it.
We're adding
It's going to help it
hamburger.
out because you know what?
Hamburger
If it takes
Helper.
a $6
Wow.
bottle of wine that you pick up in the grocery store and brings it to life and gives you a better experience at $6, then guess what? It did a great job. There's a lot of people in the industry and outside the industry who are not very happy about Mega Purple. So
Really? Wow.
it's actually grape skins and grape parts that are compressed and dropped in and used as a way to give
Kinda like what you used to-
additional
would-
maceration for color. And there are some wine tasters who say I can smell and taste Mega Purple in there, and I can tell which winemaker's using it.
Are you
which one
buying
isn't.
that scenario? That they can taste it?
I kind of am.
Okay.
If you have a chance to taste those wines and taste that product, you can see where you feel like there's a generic nose to something, and you begin to wonder if it has had some help in that particular area. So I could buy that. I think I could buy that. But I'm wondering how.
It's kind of weird.
I'm
though.
wondering how he got that top secret
Yeah,
information.
that's top secret,
That's
by the way.
question.
Do you work for the CIA? Come on.
That's the Culinary Institute of America?
Yeah, right.
Probably, right, yes.
All right, so 2010s, there are similarities in this wine to me in the finish, but the nose is really different. The Bonneau is a little more floral for me. The wood, the oak in the 10 for the Super Sonoman is starting to show, and it shows in the nose in my book. They're both showing really well, though. I really like how they're showing. I think the Super Sonoman it seems a little richer for me. I think I'm getting a little bit more in the mouthfeel.
You know, you think about it. If this is liquid music for a minute, you can enjoy a set of music. Some of it's louder, some of it's bigger, and some of it's more romantic and soft and so forth. And that's kind of what's going on here. It's really an attitude within the wine and the wine making. The classic old steakhouse. That's what the Super Sonoman reminds me of. These kind of classic things. Going to French restaurants and having the special sauce cuisine and so forth, the high-end cuisine. That's what Bonneau represents for me in terms of what this wine is doing.
Yeah.
There's just a different kind of passion that goes into each of these, and it leads to a different product.
Well, John makes really soft wine. This is pretty soft.
Yeah.
This is pretty soft.
But
Go ahead.
but not wimpy.
No, not wimpy at all. No, it's big firm tannins. Go ahead.
Is Cabernet the most planted varietal?
What, you don't have Google? Good.
That's what
night.
they're doing.
Oh,
These
I
are
know. Are they
tests,
trying
right?
to? Are they trying to? They're trying to throw me off. No, I don't believe Cabernet is. My wife knows the answer to that. Where is she? She's upstairs.
She's working on some things. You want me to grab her?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh no. We don't want to. We don't want to interfere with anything
We'll
whatsoever.
find what Google page they're looking at. It changes. It has changed a little bit.
I would, if I'm going to guess, if I was a guessing person, betting, I would say Chardonnay, but I could
You know,
be.
Chardonnay and Cabernet are both like across the world. They seem to.
It certainly will not be Merlot. As much as I love Merlot,
And for the longest time, Zinfandel in California was the #1 planted wine grape here, because you've got Thompson seedless grapes, which are really kind of up there. But guess what? We're not talking about table
Yeah,
grapes.
no, we're not
So we're
doing
talking
that.
about wine grapes. So,
Yeah, and I saw that statistic not so long ago too,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it's. I think it's one or the other anyway. They're king and queen for sure.
yeah.
So just tell me the answer, and no.
It's Bordeaux variety.
Well, it is yeah. Cab is a yeah. The question was, is it a Bordeaux varietal? That's the #1. It's probably
It's #1. Yeah, it's #1.
one of those two.
Right.
Yeah, no question about it. Now, fun things for you guys to make plans for. It's on my top. It's in my top 5 wine country events. Is coming up. It's called a Food and Wine Affair, and it's really cool. Let me tell you how cool. It's really cool. It's November 1st and 2nd, and it involves Russian River, Alexander Valley, Dry Creek. About 110 or 120 wineries are involved. It's part of the Wine Road, so write that down, Wine Road, and you can get tickets. Tickets are $70 for 2 days. You get a wristband, you get a glass, and you get a cookbook, and in the cookbook are recipes from each winery with a wine that's paired up, so that when you go to that winery during that weekend, you're going to eat that food and taste that wine that they've paired up. They'll also have, some of them will have live music. They'll have some actually bring out barrel samples, and
And you
so
get the cookbook, right?
you get the cookbook. So that's like, you know, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's not 70. Maybe it's 60. But anyway, it's one of the best priced events. But the book is cool. I mean, it's a great cookbook, and but all the wineries involved are just fantastic. And that is a neat weekend. And that's a Saturday, Sunday. And what you do is you check in. So you check in at a particular winery, and you get your glass, wristband, and your book, and your cookbook, and a map, and then they boot you out, and you're on your own. And
Nice.
But the cool thing is, what you want to do is you want to stay at the Marriott right over here, a great hotel right here down the street. We also have the Hyatt as well as Hotel La Rose. So they're all within walking distance of here, and make us the starting point, and you'll do really well.
Now, I'm gonna jump in because I know it sounds like he's selling.
No, I'm
But the
I'm
reality-
just telling you what I know. How you doing, Dave?
Good job. Are you
Good
on
to
the air
see-
right now?
Yeah, we are. Say hi to everybody in the world. How you doing, man?
I'm gonna go see a movie.
Oh,
Cool.
Go Giants.
okay.
Are you going to see
All right, we need to talk. I have a, yeah. Yes, we do. Thank you.
Now, pay
go
the
ahead.
residuals.
Yeah, I know. I know, I get it.
But it's great because you come by here and you get all that paraphernalia, and you get your start here, just a few steps from where you're staying. It makes a lot of sense rather than driving all the way up and wondering where the lines will be and so forth. You've got it right here.
And then you have a place to come back to, because the wineries are giving you the boot at 4. At 4, you're out. I don't care if you've bought 100 cases of wine. They're booting you out at 4 o'clock. So the only gig open right here. Go ahead, Karina.
So Dan is saying number 1 is Cab, number 2 is Merlot, number 5 is Chardonnay.
Worldwide?
I
Oh.
don't know. Sure. I'm gonna
Okay.
say yes.
Well, ask him that question.
I'm not sure.
We'll clarify that. Dan, I'm going to ask you the question. Is that for the whole United States, or is it just California? So I think you want to be specific.
I think number 1 in the world is Cab, number 2.
Are they saying in the world? Was that the
Well, that's why
original?
I don't know.
Oh,
Then what's in between?
That's what I just said. I said, what about 3 and 4?
yeah. What about? Well, but there's a big difference
California
between
simple
California
enough.
versus the United States versus the world. So let's get real specific here, and we'll
it'd be
figure
good.
that out.
It'd be a great fact to know.
So yeah, you want to come to that event. That's a wine road event. That's awesome. Great time. I mean, oh man. And for my local people that are tuned in, I'm going to send an email out. I'll try to get it out tomorrow, maybe Thursday. This Saturday, if you're in the area and you've ever come in this tasting room and you forgot something, I have a boatload of stuff. And
Half of it's mine.
I mean, I have scarves, umbrellas, glasses, jewelry, cell phones. I've got earrings galore. Women must. Do you guys like? It's like you just lose this stuff. I have a boatload, and we're going to have a pickup party. Plus, we're going to have a pick up the stuff that you left here. And then if you don't pick it up, I'm giving it to charity, and we're going to move on. But I've got a whole bunch of. So if you ever thought you left something here,
I left my bowling ball here the
yeah,
other day.
yeah, I know. And I sold it to this guy who was out here. I
I
got
think
$10
that's
for
great.
it. Well, you had a question? Go ahead.
Dan says it's world.
That's a world number. Yeah, see, that's different than California. If you did that same scenario for California, I don't think Merlot would be your number 2. The only reason Merlot is in there is because you got the Bordeaux region,
I
right?
think in California it's probably going to be Cab, Chardonnay, and then Zinfandel, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Yeah, I would say.
But I don't know.
But boy, did we have a nice little.
That's a really good tasting.
Yeah, I was
Horizontal,
actually
vertical.
I was actually going to do one more winery, but it overwhelmed me, and I so I just couldn't.
So there's no white wine today. Interesting.
No, I didn't do any
Interesting.
white wines because we were talking
I know.
Libreria,
Yeah.
Libraria. Libraria. It's like it's a new place that, they just
Probably a
invent-
trademarkable name for you.
Can I trade them?
Sure, why not?
I like that. Then I will do that. I own that name.
You know what?
Come to our
First
new
use.
website, the Libraria.
Yeah,
What?
I think it's funny.
Oh, you thought it was funny. Okay. A shout out to our Giants who have won the game. We are now up 2-1. Tomorrow we will be up 3-1, and then it'll only one more game and we win the whole enchilada going into the World Series. At least that's my prediction. But I had my now 5-14 shirt on, so it's coming
Coming
on
back.
the right on the
Coming
right
back.
side.
Coming
It's
back.
the shirt that on the 18-inning game I stood right over there with matches, and I was going to burn it out there if we hadn't won that game, and we won the game, so I didn't have to do that. So
Crisis averted.
I just so throw the slide up one more time on the wines that we tasted tonight. We had Bonneau wine 2009 Sonoma Valley, their 2010 Sonoma Valley, and a pre-release of their 11.
John is looking great. It's
Right.
Showing well. Yeah.
Very nice. And then Super Sonoman 2008 Knights Valley. That's a nice area too, Knights Valley. 2009 Knights Valley as well as the 2010. And aged in brand new French oak. It shows in the wine. It does. But it does tell you that's the 8. You think you got some life left
I
on that
think we
puppy?
definitely do.
Absolutely. So
Across all of these, there's
yeah,
no,
so
there's not a tired wine here.
not a tired wine. And so the moral of the story is this. When we release a wine and you get it in the wine club shipment, grab extra of it and put it down, because eventually it's going to go into a library status and the price is going to take a big jump, and then it's going to be depleted to where there isn't any at all. Because really, if you look back here and said, boy, I'd love to get some of that 09 Sonoma Valley.
Right.
Well, no, not when there's only, 15 bottles left. You missed it.
Yeah,
Because I'd love to, you'd love to have a case of that,
it'd be nice.
right? Well, you're not going to get that. So, take advantage of what we have here, 9 amazing vintners, and these are wines that you can't go to the wine store and pick up because they're not there, right? Dave, they're not there, man.
They're not there.
No,
Definitely not
no,
there.
Dave knows. So I want to thank all of you that have tuned in every single week and are there to help us tell the story about wine. I want to thank Karina coming back from where the heck you were last week. I don't even know.
Concert.
A concert. Oh, sorry. Yeah, concert. And Dave, thank you very much for coming in and giving us some of this technical. And thank you guys for drinking wine, because if we don't drink wine, we don't make any money.
And
So,
all the people watching asking questions.
yeah, and all of you that ask questions, keep doing that. And I know that there's closet people in here. We hear the same names over and over, but we have closet viewers, because I have a way of actually looking in to see, the number of bodies that actually go to the website and do all that. There's a lot of you closet people, and some of them that don't have Twitter or Facebook, so they don't log in. Just log in under the Ustream. They're not going to make you buy a new car. It's just a way for you to participate. But we want to hear from you too.
Yeah.
So don't be a closet person. Come out of the closet and participate. And then if you're ever down here on Tuesdays and you want to taste with us, why not? You can't taste this anywhere else. I'll guarantee you that, right?
Absolutely.
So hats off to Bonneau and to Super Sonoman. 3 fantastic wines. We still have them in verticals. They will not last. If you want to buy them, I suggest you get with the program. If not, whatever's left goes to my wife and I. And isn't that fun?
Which you'll enjoy.
That's right. That's right. So this is where you discover wine, one sip at a time, here at Cellars of Sonoma. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next week. Go Giants!